Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Shredding Skeptic. Today we are going to be taking our third look at Empyrion Galactic survival. Today we'll explore our new base on Akua, as well as building a capital ship that we're going to dock our space vessel upon. We also work to further explore the farming system as we build a large crop system to sustain our food supply and convert that into a kind of food we can store for long periods of time. So strap yourselves in and let's take a look at this new world. So here it is, Akua, our new water world that comes with the 3.0 update for Empyrion Galactic survival, and I think you guys are going to like this one because we got a lot of new content in store. So let's transition into our triple screen 9K footage, and if you're just joining us, what we're looking at here today is 3 streams of iFinity footage so you guys can check out this game from a number of different perspectives at once. So as you can see, Akua is a little bit more of a picturesque planet than we're used to on the dry desert world of Omicron, and resources here are relatively plentiful, so you can actually start your game from this planet if you so choose and then venture to Omicron later when you are better equipped. And speaking of getting equipped, today our goal is going to be gather enough food resources to produce a sustainable food supply for our capital ship that we are building in space as we speak. We're going to make a couple of modifications to our space vessel as well so that it maybe looks a little bit better and lands a little bit easier as well. So as you can see, we're on approach to the base here, and we have the farm set up on the lowest level. Now, I wasn't too successful with this in the previous videos because I had placed the food lengths too high, and the result was zero growth on the base I had on Omicron. I also had no luck when I had the lights placed to the side, so it seems if you want to have these things work at all, they have to be basically 3 blocks above on the bottom, and it'll cover 9 squares worth of growing blocks. So if you guys are having some difficulty getting these growing lights to work, that's the solution there. I have tried placing additional lights to see if that speeds up the growth process, but I'm not sure if that's really having an effect or not. So into space we go, and here we have our capital vessel, for which I have yet to determine a name. And one of the big things I wanted was to be able to dock the space vessel inside the craft. So as you can see, I've built a landing bay, I suppose, into the top of the craft that fits in quite nicely. All of the blocks are, basically 4 times as large on the capital vessels and bases as they are on the ground vehicles and space vehicles. So once you've had a little bit of time to practice building the base on the planets, you guys are going to find that building these capital vessels is quite a familiar experience. So just make sure you give yourself enough room to have everything you're going to need on the inside, as well as not have too much excess space, because these things do have a weight rating, and I imagine that's going to have an effect on your fuel consumption down the line. Also be sure to place a gravity generator on the inside as soon as possible, because the gravity system isn't really worked out all that well, and you may find yourself falling out of the bottom of your spacecraft into, well, a bottomless pit of space if you do not get that gravity generator down solid. So, as you can see here on our top screen, we have everything set up in a fairly basic fashion. I had to place the same directional thrusters as I did on the space vehicle and get the RCS on this there so you can turn it around. And down on our bottom screen, you can see some of the modifications I made to the space vehicle, including the front landing strut. Later in the video, you'll also see some additional fuel packs I added there to give it a bit of a longer lifetime in space. Because you'll find there's little more frustrating than trying to take off of the planet, realizing you forgot to fuel up, and then basically falling like a deadweight from orbit. As this game is early access, there are still several glitches, as we're going to take a quick look at here. I did want to do a quick focus on one of these glitches that I did manage to trigger by digging at a strange angle into the rocks here. So I'm just going to speed up this footage quickly so you guys can see how I inadvertently triggered this thing. Again, these glitches seem to be fixed mostly just by reloading your save game. So if you guys happen to fall out of the sky through the planet, again, just reload and you'll tend to be just fine. With regards to mining, I do recommend trying to dig in as much of an angle as you can afford given your drill fuel packs, because you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're at the bottom of a hole and you've run out of ammunition for your drill. So if you take a look at the top screen, the best way of getting yourself back out again is basically just to turn on your jetpack, hold forward, jump, and click both mouse buttons, and you're basically just going to do a jump dig thing until you reach the surface. And again, if you just continue to mash the T button as you're digging through the ore, you're going to pick it up as you go, and it's going to save you some time from having to clean up the pile at the bottom of the pit later. If you haven't had a chance to check out my videos on Empyrion Galactic Survival before, I'll leave a card in the video here so you guys can take a look at a couple of the earlier episodes if you want to take a more in-depth look at the mining and base building systems. In our first video, we also alluded to a comparison between this and Star Citizen, and I haven't had a chance to put up the Star Citizen video if you guys want to take a look at that game to see what it looks like when this concept is really stepped up to a, well, next-generation graphic kind of look. I do appreciate that the developers of Empyrion Galactic Survival chose to go in the direction of functional gameplay before really getting everything super polished up and looking pretty, because it does allow you a lot of fun gameplay, and if you guys haven't had a chance to play this game yet, I'd love it if you jump in on it. It is available on Steam right now, and I'd recommend you grab it before they jump up that price. So as you can see, we're going to mount some weapons on our capital vessel here. I didn't have a lot of success getting the turrets to work. They don't really seem to want to grab targets and appear to be primarily cosmetic at this point, which is kind of annoying given their cost in resources, because all of this is done in their survival mode so that I could have an opportunity to fight some adversaries and, well, really put these things to the test rather than just seeing what the construction system was all about. And frankly, time has shown us that necessity is the mother of invention. So, if you are limited in the amount of resources that you have, you know that you have to be cost effective, and that's going to force you to be very creative in the way that you want to design things. Except in this case, what we have here is a little glitch I did find with the construction system. If you guys actually drag and drop from your inventory into your quick launch menu and right click to just drop a single block, what you can actually do is drag it as you would drag multiple blocks, and what it'll do is it'll leave half the amount that you drag. So if you guys want to get the most out of your resources, use one cube to make a bunch of cubes. And if you do want to ask, yes, you can actually use this as an indirect dupe glitch, where you can then harvest those resources, throw them into a constructor, and construct more again if you want to make more intricate designs. So it is a glitch in the game right now that you can take advantage of, so do it before the developers catch wind. Other glitches, as you saw on our bottom screen, included getting caught in some of the scaffolding if you're not careful about where you jump out of your turrets. They do have a bit of a respawn issue with some of these creatures that are just sort of appearing in these giant piles, but fortunately for now it will give you an ample food supply. Speaking of which, as you can see in our middle screen here, I have a number of these fridges set up where I'm trying to organize the foods by different types as I build them. This has taken quite a bit of my time, and this has sort of become a galactic farming simulator for me right now, but I gotta say, it is kind of therapeutic, so if you guys are interested in a little bit of space farming, this is a great way of trying that out as well. So we did have some problems with the turrets on the capital vessels, but the turrets on the bases seem to work relatively well. Right now you only can use the missile turret, so you are going to leave quite a few craters as these things basically fire at anything that moves. But fortunately you can go up and collect the spoils if you're quick, because they do seem to disappear relatively quickly. You may also find the constant firing of rockets annoying, but fortunately the game doesn't seem to have any sort of sleep mechanic at the moment, and all these, bed and sofa and all that stuff is purely cosmetic, although I do appreciate that developers do give you that option right now to give your base a little more of a homey feel, so to speak. The developers have also added better swimming mechanics and water physics to the game, so now you can actually traverse the water as you would sort of like the elevator blocks, and fortunately the enemies primarily seem to stay on the surface, so you're still going to be able to take advantage of that glitch if you are a little bit low on health and ammunition. So as you can see on our bottom screen here, the crops are coming along nicely, and all you really have to do is collect the ingredients and store them in fridges until you have enough of the recipes you want. And by combining these ingredients together, you're going to be able to recover a lot more of that health bar a lot more quickly, using a lot more of your inventory space. So as you can see here, we're just going to grab a bunch of these cans and, well, dino stews and maybe a bit of popcorn, and we're going to fly this stuff up to the capital ship, and we're going to start loading up our food supplies there. So I'm hoping to be able to keep this save game going and have a well-prepared capital vessel for hopefully by the time the developers get my turrets working and put a few more planets on here. So this is definitely not the end of our adventures with Empyrion Galactic Survival, but I do admit this game is sort of holding me over until something a little bit more polished comes out, like Elite Dangerous Horizons or Star Citizen in a more complete form, or No Man's Sky, which I know we're all looking forward to checking out. So if you guys are looking forward to seeing a few more videos from the triple screen perspective, definitely subscribe and leave me a comment to know what kind of games you'd like to see in this format. And again, thank you for taking the time to tune into this particular episode of the Shredding Skeptic. One of the most rewarding components of being a YouTube content creator is the engagement I do get with the audience, so I would love to hear from you guys, to hear what your thoughts are on some of these games that we're checking out on this channel. And if there are similar games you'd like to perhaps compare this one to, definitely let me know in the comments, because I'd love to hear from you guys, to hear what it is that you have to say about these games. So for now, we'll just make sure our ship is fully topped up, and we're going to retire to the capital vessel to, well, basically just await our next adventure with whatever updates have come down the pipe. I have noticed on Steam they have released a bit of an update that's going to give us some new dinosaurs and a bit of more, well, balancing on the planet. So we're going to take a look to see what that update looks like in our next video. So once again, guys, thanks again for tuning in. See you next time.